Butterflies. Welcome back to another episode. You may know this very handsome, familiar face because we just scrolled back, was on episode 39, and now we're on episode 91. Sean Kinsey, welcome back.
Ooh,
That
thanks
was
for
like,
having me.
yeah, of course. That was like, so like, should I be screaming? But also, I should keep my cool as well. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, welcome back, sir. So yeah, Sean Kinsey. Well, I'm so excited to have him back because he's done a lot in the last couple of years, and I am like so eager. Although I do follow him all on Instagram and I see what he's been up to. If you guys don't have the opportunity to follow him yet, which you should, he's going to fill us in, and you have to also go back and watch that episode. But tell us what he's been up to since. So that is like a weird, quick intro of just being like, hey, tell us what's up. But no, I'm so happy to have you back. So thank you for joining the show. Of
I am glad to be back, Katie. Thank you so much. Thank
course.
you.
Yes,
Shout out
absolutely.
to
And I see,
Boston, by the way.
what'd you say?
Shout out to Boston, by the way.
Right. We're a good city, and shout out to
Boston in the
Philly.
house.
Yeah.
Boston and Philly.
Yes. And then I was cracking up when you sent me that video of the police officer going down the slide
That
because
was hilarious. I
they
had
have
to ask you, where was that
so
in
it's
Boston?
in like government like you like all like blah, blah, blah. Why can't I talk? City Hall Plaza. So it's like government
Okay.
center. So there's not much like really in that space. Like it's just yeah, it's a lot of like government buildings, random buildings. There's not a lot of like residential spots. And then, like, pretty close to it is Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market, which is like the oldest market, if you've ever heard of that.
Okay.
So there's shops in there, there's bars, restaurants, all this stuff. So it's kind of like in that space.
Cool.
But yeah, City Hall Plaza.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's the place that I shouldn't go to when I come visit, or
You can go, but I don't feel like you're going to be like, oh my God, like this is such a
yeah, all
fun
right.
part of the city.
I
So,
got
like,
you.
honestly, the last time I think I've been to City Hall Plaza was, God, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was for the Puerto Rican festival because I was with my friend and her whole family.
Okay.
And yeah, they had like a little like carnival rides and stuff like that for it. And that's probably the last I drive by it, but there's nothing that's like really a draw to go there. Like you
Got you.
could go to Quincy Market, Faneuil Hall. Nobody ever really calls it Quincy Market. You just call it Faneuil Hall. But like over there, it's fun. It's like all, like brick and cobblestone, like very old
Mhm.
buildings, and it's like shopping and stuff, but there's way better places, so we can always talk about that when you plan your visit, because that's probably like
Got you.
the like 15th place maybe you should go to. It's not like in the top 10 even.
Okay, cool, cool. I got you.
So
15 first. All right,
yes,
checklist.
yes, have you been doing research on places in Boston to come visit?
So the only thing that I've been doing honestly was checking out food spots because I love food. So yeah, that's about it, honestly.
Okay. No, that's fair. If you're a foodie, that's like naturally
Yeah,
what you're going to
big time
gravitate
food.
towards. Did you find any good spots that you remember right now that you want to visit?
Not off the top of the head, no.
Okay.
So I do watch this show called what is it called again? By Action Bronson. Fuck, that's delicious, I believe.
I've never
Something
even
like
heard of
that.
it.
So he has his
Okay.
own food show. And so he travels from city to city, country to country. And he did go to one pizza spot that was in Boston. The food looked really, really good. So I was like, you know what? When I get there, I gotta try it out. So that's
Interesting.
about it.
Because usually it's like Chicago and New York are always like, we're the pizza
Yeah.
mecca. But there's
Yep.
also like
Yeah.
really good spots in Connecticut, believe it or not, because a lot of Italians live in Connecticut. So I think that's
Hmm.
so if you do a road trip, you'd have to drive through Connecticut anyway. So you might have to do
Yep.
a pizza tour, if you will, like
Yeah.
go through all of that.
I've been on a
Um,
plane, taking the
uh,
plane.
it's so easy. It's like literally
Yeah,
like
taking the plane.
just an hour, like a little over an hour to fly from Philly to
Wow.
Boston. It's not that bad. Yeah, so I mean, there's good restaurants. I can tell you, I'm not like a super foodie just because I have stomach issues, so I get sick off of like literally like drinking water. So it's
Got you.
like I'm
I
not like
understand.
Yeah, I'm not like the best person to be like, oh my God, you have to go
Yeah,
here. It's gonna be amazing. But there are some good places, so you're gonna have to let me know. And then based on like what I've heard, I could be like, yeah, it's worth it. Or I
cool,
have been there. So
cool.
but yeah, I know there's a lot to check out in Boston. I was talking, I don't know if you remember DJ 65. He's in the media group as well. I don't know if you've seen me post his stuff before.
Uh, sounds familiar.
Okay. But he was just like, oh, I bet the Northeast is so beautiful in the fall. You're gonna have to send me pictures. He was just texting me because he's in Kansas City. And I'm like, it's so beautiful. So
Okay.
I would say the fall is like one of the best times to come up here just because the leaves are changing. It's just like really nice. Although you get to experience fall, not everybody
Yeah,
in.
I do. Yeah.
So that's a really good time. Or even like,
Basketball season. That's
well,
a great
yeah.
season. Yeah.
Actually every
Yeah,
season because first of all we're like
great season.
championship city but
Uh,
you're like
yeah, I know.
debatable no, but I was texting with him. I was like, I'll send you photos. But now that you do say that, like fall, yeah, winter I could do without. Like I'm good on like the first snowfall, and then anything after that, I'm like, ew, over it.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
be done with it. And
Gotcha.
then spring is pretty, and then summertime, like usually the city empties out because all this like we have a lot of colleges in the area.
Mhm.
So they all go back home, and then a lot of people, head closer to the beach. So, the city it tends to get a lot of like really empty. So I'm kind of sad because those days are coming to the end. So I know my morning commute to and from work is going to be heavier because everybody's coming
Yeah,
back to the city, but
coming back to the city. Yeah.
it's what it is. But we're not going to talk all about Boston this whole time. Of course, we can talk more about that, but I want to hear
Yeah.
what's been going on with you because you've had a lot happen in the last like couple of years since we
A
visited
lot.
or
Yeah.
visited. Oh, I visited you
Yeah.
since the interview, but yes, a
Yeah.
lot has happened. So, where we left off in episode 39, you were about to do your mural in the Philadelphia airport. So I guess we could get started there if you want to, and then
Cool.
take us on the journey of Sean Kinsey.
Yeah. The journey of Sean Kinsey has been pretty interesting since that episode. So I did the mural in the airport. That was for an exhibition for about 2 years. They finally took it down, maybe I would say back in April.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my birthday month. Took it down back in April. And from there, that has really helped me get a lot of, a huge fan base that I didn't have before. So it's been a huge help. Yeah.
And I love that it originated from the city that you're from. It's
Yeah.
incredible to get exposure all over the
Mhm.
world, but to really have that in a space where you're like, I have been born and raised, and now it's in an airport where people are traveling in
Yeah,
and out and have the opportunity and privilege to see my work. I mean, like, that's incredible.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it also helped me like get over that feeling of of being afraid to put my work out there. So yeah, huge help.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to do that mural?
So they gave me the option to do it two ways. So the first way was to do it at the airport. It's like on the wall, paint by hand and have traffic go through, whatever the case may be. And the second option was to actually paint it on a very, very large canvas scale and then to take a picture of it, they scan it and plaster it against the wall.
I
So I
think I
took,
remember that from
yeah,
our episode where you did it beforehand, right?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I took option B, of course, because the airport gets pretty hectic. It's very, very busy. And I was like, you know what? Instead of me going up there, people, tapping me or trying to bother me, I was like, you know what? Let me just paint it at the studio first and did it that way. So it's much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. No distractions. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can just
Yeah,
focus.
yeah.
So even with doing it the option B way, I mean, was it weeks, months? Like, what was the progression of being able to achieve the mural? Because it was large. So, yeah.
Very, very large.
Yeah.
So it was, I would say weeks. Weeks because, for one, I have a very hard time with like deciding on certain color palettes and things of that nature. So it took me a while to actually figure out how that I want to do it, and I finally just picked the colorway and took off from there. So that was it.
That's yeah. Well, and then that's the beauty of it. It's so simple. You're like, let me start with color and then
Hmm.
build from there. And is that how you normally do? Because even just looking behind you at some of the works that you have
Yeah.
right behind you, I mean, it's different color palettes. So do you usually start like the origination of a piece of work? Is like you start with color? Is it a theme? Like, how do you usually start to create?
Uh, how I create, honestly, I paint how I feel, like during that time and like that moment, and I had to get it out. So it's once I like think about something, it has to be painted on top of a canvas because if not, I just lose it or don't do it at all. So yeah, that's how I paint.
That's amazing. So, should we segue just quickly since I keep pointing? I'm like, and the paintings behind you, but how did you get started on these paintings? What was the inspiration behind these?
So the painting behind me, the one on my left, well, right side, well, your left, but my
Yeah.
right. Uh, I was just trying to do more painting that involved my logo. So, like those who don't know, my name is a brand. Um, I have a logo, it's like behind it, things of that nature. So I was just trying to, make paintings that show the brand more, you know what I'm saying? So did that. And the painting on this side, that's called, that's titled On Cloud Nine. So there's a woman, as you can see, she looks pretty like zoned out, but her mind is on cloud nine. You know what I mean? She's in love with someone that she can't tell you about. So
Ooh,
yeah, that's how I think. I have a
drama.
very vivid, weird imagination. So yeah,
Well, I wouldn't say weird, but I would definitely say imaginative,
it's pretty.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
totally
pretty
weird, so
weird.
join the weird train with me. I'm like all about being weird. I thrive
Yeah,
on
it's
being
pretty
weird.
weird, I would say.
Yeah. No, but that's really interesting. And it's, there's always like a sub story behind it. So, like how we're talking, yes, you
Always.
could start with color, you could start with emotion, you could start with this, but just looking at this painting, I could interpret it a totally different way. But like having the story of like, yeah, this is why her face is almost like expressionless because she's zoned out, but like in her head, there's a million things going on because she's thinking about this
Yeah,
person, thinking about how she can't
exactly.
tell anybody about this person.
Right. Exactly. So.
So, and then to speak about your logo, because you actually just posted, I think yesterday, but you had the little like placard explaining, about your brand and then just some like signifiers of your logo. So, can
Mhm.
you explain to the people that didn't have a chance to see this, but like what your whole logo is and like what it means to you?
So the main part of the logo, so inside one of the eyes is the number 22. So those who don't know, that is like my mother's birthday. She's a huge part of my life, my inspiration, she motivates me. Drives me nuts, sometimes, but what moms do. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's a huge, huge part of why I really, really wanted to be an artist full time and take things seriously. And also, the number 22 comes from my motto. That's an acronym. So the motto is inspiration for creation. So spell that out. That's a total of 22 letters. So yeah, that's
That's
right. Got
my
22.
mind would like never go there. I'd just be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
here are words. I wouldn't be like, oh,
yeah.
these letters and these
Right.
numbers. Yeah, you're
Everyone says
far
that.
deeper than I am. So I think sometimes I'm pretty shallow when it comes to
Yeah,
stuff. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
just kidding. But that's incredible. And then I also saw that you have the five teeth. Like in the smile, there's always
Hmm.
five teeth. Is
Hmm.
there any reason behind the number five or the reason why you choose five
Um,
teeth?
Honestly, I didn't want to go too simple with, it's like the original look of people having a full set of teeth. So I wanted mine to stand out a little bit more and just have five teeth. So that was the idea. You know what I mean? Like just
That
went to
was
my head
simple.
and I yup, just stuck with it and it's been there ever since. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
And then you talk about like your mom being your inspiration. Like you had told me in the last episode, but literally you starting painting originated from a paint night that has since like now manifested and like evolved itself to like this space. So I can only imagine
Absolutely.
what a huge inspiration your mom has been in this journey of you being where like the inception of, that paint night to now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from that paint night, those who don't know, I could always draw, paint really good as a kid, but so I played basketball all of my life, all of my life. So painting and drawing, from where I'm from, is not really something that's talked about. Like growing up in the hood of Philadelphia. So, you're either a rapper, basketball player, doing something illegal, possibly things of that nature, and it's frowned upon really. So it took me a long, long time to get into my, it's like adult years and realize that, all right, I have a talent that can take me places. So that paint night, I was like, yo, I'm really, really good at painting. So I got my first canvas, and I remember I sold my first painting for $100.
And now
Thought
you're
I was
like,
on
let's add
right,
some zeros now to the
right.
end of
Thought I was on top of the world, $100, and not knowing that, 6, 7 years later, I'll be doing this full time, nonstop. Going through ups and downs and just taking the course. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, do you remember who you sold that first painting to?
Yeah. So one of my teammates that we play semi-pro with, um, he's a realtor, I believe, and he bought it. He was like, "Yo, I want that painting. How much?" I was like, "I don't know, 100, whatever."
You just guess. You're like, I don't
Yeah,
know. Will you do that? Because if not, I can go
I
lower.
guess.
You're like, I don't know how much they
Yeah,
sell.
for $100.
Wow. I hope he still
Mm,
has that like proudly hanging someplace.
probably does. And it's so funny because looking back at my artwork then, it's terrible compared to now. Terrible, my opinion. But it's very, very like, I don't know, just whack, honestly. So
Oh, I totally get that. One of my good friends, Xavier, he's also
yeah.
an artist. I am always like sharing your work with him.
Hmm.
I think he follows you on Instagram, I'm not sure, but he's
Hmm.
been in the art world for a while, transitioned back. He was an art major, kind of like let
Okay.
it rest, played basketball. He was on the Globetrotters, went to China, all this stuff to play
Yeah.
basketball. So similar in that sense of,
Same story. Yeah. Yeah.
pursuing athletics, for your
Hmm.
passion, but he's back in doing painting, pretty heavily. And he's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, my early work is disgusting. I'm embarrassed
That's
by
how I
it.
feel. Like I never really show people my first year or two. I hate it.
That was your practice round.
Hate it.
You're like, I
Practice
was
rounds
just,
for sure.
yeah,
Practice runs for sure. But I would say that's a big part of your story because it actually shows my growth and shows how much I've actually, like matured from, just me being a man to me being an artist too. So it
absolutely.
does show some growth and maturity.
For sure.
Definitely.
And I
Yeah.
think you can even just like relate it to basketball. I mean, when you first started out, I don't even know, you're probably like 6 years old, right?
Right.
And you're
Yep.
like, just the
Six
course
years
of like
old too.
growing and being on teams and learning certain
Hmm.
skill sets. I mean, and then you became to the fact, like to the point where you're playing really well. It's the same as being
Hmm.
an artist. I think you connect the paint or whatever medium that you're using
Yeah.
to the canvas. Like you're learning brush strokes better. You're learning like if I use this amount of paint, what is this going to achieve? If I do this color over it, it's a way of just like connecting further. So that's why I say it's your practice round, but it's like literally you were
Yeah.
just or scrimmage season, right? For your
Hmm.
first
Yep.
year of work.
Yeah.
I guess if
Yeah.
you can call it. That's your scrimmage period.
Right.
And being able to like really understand yourself and your talent, the mediums that you're using, and just going from there. So I think where you are then versus now, it
Yeah.
of
It's a
course, I mean, and
huge
if you
difference.
didn't get
Yeah.
better, I'd be concerned. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. No, seriously. I would too. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You would not be
I
doing
agree.
this. I'd be like, don't quit your day job, okay? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Exactly. No, you are absolutely right.
Oh my
Absolutely
goodness.
right.
So yeah, so you've done a lot. I mean, not only with the canvases that you have behind you and many more that you have since
Mhm.
sold, you've done the mural. But you also did a mural in New Jersey. We were talking about that.
Recently, I did a private commission. So one of my best friends, his father figure, um, he runs I believe it's like a real estate or like housing company or something like that.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, I have your work in my home, but put some work into my office," and gave me the free will to do what I wanted to, and I painted that whole entire wall. So yeah.
That's incredible. So what was the inspiration for that one again? Similar to the airport, or
um,
did he give you kind of like a theme you had to go off of,
he
or
he just told me to do what I do best: bright colors, positivity, some words of like affirmations, and that was it. So, and that's what my work is based on, really. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty easy, honestly.
yeah, you just get there and you do it, but it's like different from the
Yeah,
airport. This one you were actually doing it
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
space and painting it with no distractions. So that's
I
always
honestly don't like. So one pet peeve of mine, as far as being an artist, I honestly cannot stand. Sorry to say this, but I can't stand when people make it so difficult to create. Like, especially when it comes to commission work, like these bogus ideas they have, not realizing that it may not work, but I'm trying to show you something different. They'll tell me something like, for example, knowing that I don't paint portraits really, right? But they will want something like, I don't know, a portrait of Bill Clinton wearing a cowboy hat or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like something really, really, really just like random. And I'm like, no, not something I really want to do. So I do turn down a lot of work, a lot of opportunities because of the fact that I'm trying to stay true to myself and stay true to my work and what I believe in. So it's very, it gets very tricky at times trying to do commissions and, please other people. So
absolutely because you want to stay true to your morals, true to
yeah,
your brand,
yeah,
that you're like,
absolutely.
Bill Clinton in a cowboy hat. Like, how did you think out of all of my work that I was going to be the artist to
Right,
achieve that for you?
right,
You
right,
know,
right.
like you may like my work, but like I've never done a political figure or that
Yeah,
wearing a hat.
I'm
I
not
mean,
doing
I'm
that.
now going to
Yeah.
ask you because I'm wearing a hat. Like, paint me right now. I'm like,
Right.
it's yeah, I mean, I totally get that because you're just like, how is my work that tends to be more abstract? You want me to like fine tune it and make a portrait out of it? That's not going to
Hmm.
be abstract and
Not gonna
contemporary.
happen. Right. It's
No,
not gonna happen. So
no. So, Well, I'm glad that like New Jersey project was like one that you had free reign and that you were like, yes,
Yeah,
and I
really cool
can
project.
create positivity and about, do
Hmm.
what I want to do, use the colors I use, not stray away
Hmm.
from that. And
Yeah.
that's incredible. So just because you said about positivity and affirmations, like a whole basis, I feel like a lot of your paintings is like focused on happiness, right?
Hmm.
But do you really display other emotions through your work, like anger, sadness? Like, do you have anything that you've
Um,
ever done that, expresses like different avenues of emotions?
yeah. So I have done some projects where as though I'm expressing my hurt or anger for, like the political world, or as we all know, here in America, we face a lot of battles of like racism and killings and things of that nature. So I do from time to time show my hurt and my anger through those aspects, but I try to really focus on painting things about happiness and things to uplift people because of the fact that we live in a very, very harsh time right now. So there's a lot of like grim and bad stuff going on. We see enough of that. So why not paint something to make someone smile? You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's my focus.
Good. I love that. No, and I think the color even itself evokes happiness. So
Yep.
whether it,
Yeah.
whatever you have on there, whether it is a portrait of somebody, which
Right.
it's
Right.
not, but whether it's a
It's
portrait or
colorful
it's a
too.
landscape or something,
Yeah.
like just even the use of colors evokes that. But
Hmm.
so my best friend just came to town last week, and so it was like a quick in and out. I literally had to pick her up like at
Hmm.
her dad's house and drive her to the airport, and we had some time to kill. And she's never been to my condo, and I've lived here for 2.5 years. So I was like,
Okay.
oh my God, like we have time. Airport's 15 minutes away. Like I'm just gonna like let's swing by my place. I want to show you what
Right.
like great. So I'm giving her a tour and I open my bedroom door and she immediately sees your painting and she's like, I love
For
that.
real.
And I was
Dope,
like
dope.
so excited. I mean, because when you walk
Yeah.
in, it's like literally displayed right there, like on the, the opposite wall, but that's like one of
Yeah.
the first focal points that you see. So I was
Dope,
like,
dope.
yeah, that's Sean's work. And then I showed her over, where I have the bust that you created. That's on my
Hmm.
dresser because my mirror lights up. Like I'm corny, like, well, not corny, I'm like fabulous like that. But my
Not
mom's like,
corny. Right.
you're the only one that would have this. But like I have a button, it literally has LED lights, and
Yeah.
you just turn it on, and my headboard and my mirror do the same thing. And my mom's like, Katie, you're the only person I know that would ever have that. I'm like,
Hey,
you know,
listen.
right? It's
Wow.
fun.
All right.
I don't even have to use a lamp in my room. I just turn it on. I'm like,
Right.
that's light. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I think I put the bust there because it highlights it more when I actually have the light
Hmm.
on the mirror. So I was like, oh no,
Cool.
this is a great spot for it. But
Cool.
even just like seeing that color, and then, I'm sitting in my room right now, but like it's not even going to show, but like the chartreuse color, like these are my,
Hmm.
why is it not, it's coming out like, there we go. But just like pulling out like, the drapes, like some of the color from
Right.
that, like it all just like blends in. But I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's like the color moment right here. Why am I giving
Exactly.
you a tour of my
Yeah.
curtains? I'm like, here they
I
are.
don't mind because you have good fashion taste and like decor and stuff like that. So I don't mind one bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, my fave new purchase is this pillow that I just got.
Cool pillow.
Yeah, TJ
Okay.
Maxx, $17. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm always like forever evolving my space. Oh, I just got this
Yeah.
plant recently. You're getting the whole
I see.
bedroom tour.
I see it all.
Yep. Yep. And if you watched like for you or like anybody that's watched my show from the beginning, I'm actually sitting on this
Mhm.
like emerald green, like velvet chaise that I
Mhm.
had. Like it was actually on my porch where I would record the episodes, but that's what I'm sitting on. So I'm just in this little corner of my room right now. Just, showing all of the goods
Showing
here.
off.
But yes, but your work is also in my room. So that's what
Thank
the
you.
whole point of like having color expressing happiness. Like this
Thank you. I
Insta,
appreciate that.
yeah, like it's a place of solitude, but it's also a place of peace, and color brings me peace. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
live in all gray and white and look like I'm in a hospital. I'm like, nah, nah, nah.
So
Yeah.
you know what? So speaking of colors, right? So I'm trying to really tap in to using like neutral tones and like earth tones and like things like that. But it's so hard to do. So hard to do
Your
because I
soul
feel
doesn't speak to neutral. You're not basic.
like I like neutral colors, but the earth tones I just can't do it. I don't know why. I try to trust and believe me from time to time. I do, but it's not as easy as people think it is because I'm like a very like vibrant person, and it's really difficult.
Yes. That would be
Really difficult.
straying away from your brand. You're like to do
Yes,
like a
it will.
mossy green and an earth brown. And you're like,
Yeah, yeah. I'll
yes.
do a brown with like a fluorescent pink. You know what I mean, or like a neon yellow or something like that, but not brown with a forest green and a mud
No,
color
that's not
black.
you. That's
Not
not
me.
you. I can't imagine. I would look at that and be like, wow, this is like a
Wow, right?
different period of his work. And what is he trying to do?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
know your work of colorful, bold, vibrant, exciting, all
absolutely.
of the fun acronyms, or not acronyms,
Right,
but like, adjectives. I can't even talk
right.
today that I could use. But yeah, like an earth tone vibe, that would be interesting.
I
Huh.
thought about it. Thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought about it.
But yeah, I feel like knowing you and, being true to your work, you would definitely have to mix it with the fluorescent, the neon, the
Hmm.
more vibrant. I don't know if like you would be happy. Who cares about like anybody that's like wanting to purchase your work? I don't know if you'd be happy with like a very neutral one. You'd be like, no, I need to pop somewhere. I need to do
Right.
something.
Pop
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
So when you tried those, did you end up just painting right over them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time. Like every single time, man. It does not work for me at all. I do not know why, but no, not happening.
No, I totally get that. Well, that's like I've done. So I had this painting. I only bought this painting because it went better in my old space and the old house I
Hmm.
lived in. But I love the gold frame, and it was at this like secondhand shop, whatever. So I bought that.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here, I was like, no, I'm gonna paint over it. And I have like all these different things. And I had like
Right.
neon, like pink and orange. And then
Yeah.
now I gotta tone it down. It doesn't go with the aesthetic for this space. And then I'm doing this. And
I
I've
got
like
you.
painted over it a few times. And then just like as a joke, like more so to like annoy my brother.
Hmm.
But so I'm obsessed with the show Queen of the South. I don't know if you knew that. Like the
Good
whole
show.
yes, such a good show.
Very
I
good
did my
show.
episode
Yeah.
recaps on here before.
Mhm.
And so I bought a poster as a joke of Teresa Mendoza, and I literally just like hot glue gunned the poster over the
Really?
canvas.
Okay.
Lives in my dining room,
Very
and
creative.
he's like, "What
Uh,
is this shit? This is not even art. Get it out of here," And I'm like, now he lives in Chicago. He doesn't even see it. So I have been thinking
okay.
like, oh, maybe I should change it now that he's, not around to like give me a hard
Yeah.
time about it. But I look at that and I'm like, even though I have like black, gray, blues, like for furniture as the anchors. I also have like the most colorful pieces are in the accessories
Mhm.
art in my living room and dining area. So I have been thinking about painting that. So I think you gave me some inspiration to like I
Awesome.
gotta bring color into it. So
Good news.
yeah. So I know. So that's it. I can't say I'm as good as an artist as you, but I dabble here and
I'm
there.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Feel like I'm all
I'm
right. I do
okay.
this like full time. I guess like I'm okay at it. No biggie.
I am a-okay. All right.
I know. So yeah, I'm trying to think about like art shows. I already talked to you about like I'm going to an
Hmm.
art fair later on today, but like, you've actually like expanded out of Philly and have done a couple art shows in DC already, right?
Yeah. So
So,
I did the Black Boy. So back in what, February, March, I did there's a company called the Black Boy Art Show, and I did the show in DC. Yeah, sold out almost every painting. So good experience. The crowd, I would say, so I am not big on doing events like that really because it's more of like a vending experience.
Yeah, okay.
But but I would say it's better to do them outside of your comfort zone. That's why I went to DC and just did it down there, and it was a great turnout for me. Um, Lots of new clientele, sold almost every piece. Great energy, good people. So I was pretty happy about myself for that
That's awesome.
one.
Yeah, and it's great because it's like whether you
Yeah, pretty happy.
drove or you flew there, but it's like you're coming with all
True.
these,
Yeah.
well, you kind of had to with all that artwork, but it's like you
Mm,
come with like so much stuff that you have to unload it, and you're coming home a lot
mm.
lighter, but like way more fulfilled. You're like,
Yep.
people have my work in their home or, in their space, it's their office,
Yeah.
wherever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you go there with like, I don't know what this is going to be like an experience just to network, to sell, to whatever. And the fact that you have
Yeah.
had, the ability to do both is awesome.
Yeah. It's I would say that me having my artwork everywhere across the states, from California to Boston to Jersey, PA, North Carolina, Florida,
Did you sell in
Texas,
Texas? Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I saw you post
goes
Texas.
on and on and on. But the only place where I lack at as of right now is getting my work into more galleries. But that's only because I personally feel like we're in an era right now where social media, that's our gallery.
Yep.
So we really, I wouldn't say don't need the art gallery spaces, but you know, this day and age, everyone's more like independent.
Yes.
So yeah, and galleries, they want a huge percentage of your work and things of that nature, and it's very political. Um, I can go on and on and on about galleries, but that's my focus now this year. Just trying to get myself in the gallery world more. So yeah.
And if you can't get in there, you create your own damn gallery and just be like, I'm here,
Exactly.
SKG,
Exactly.
Sean Kinsey
Yeah.
Gallery. But again, funny enough to bring up my friend Xavier, I was just on the phone with him last night, and
Hmm.
he lives in Seattle. He's a flight attendant, so he's
Okay.
traveling all over the place, right?
Okay.
But
Good.
that's like where he lives at the moment. And he was like, I had the last few days off, so I decided to go to some galleries in the area and get my name out
Hmm.
there. And he's like, it's so difficult to get into these galleries. Like, you need to know somebody, you need to have already have died.
Very political. It is so
Yes.
political, man. It makes no sense at all. Which honestly, uh, I would say it can be a bit discouraging at times, but the mindset that I have, I keep on going. You know what I mean? Just keep moving forward, never giving up, and just making my own lane, like you said, because we live in an era where there's social media. It's easy to actually like gain your own following and make your own path. So that's been me for about 6, 7 years now, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think the beauty of it is social media has opened doors for you where you may not have had them before.
Yes,
So
it
like
has.
the
Yeah.
the sense of being so
I agree.
discouraged, you're like, I'm not selling the volume or selling at like,
Yeah.
just at the price point or wherever
Mhm.
you may go. I think that having the opportunity of like, you just post whatever you want on your own social media, whether it's yourself or you hire somebody to do it for you, but like
Mhm.
hashtagging, tagging this, tagging that, getting into the hands of the right person has like
Yeah.
brought you so many avenues of like opportunities that like think
Mhm.
about artists even like 20, 30 years ago, they didn't even have that opportunity. And I'm like, so
I
I think
know.
you've taken like what we have, like a tool being social media and like used it to
Yeah.
your bit and you've succeeded in that realm. So
Right.
it's know, if the galleries are going to be stingy and political, well, then I don't need you. I have this. So,
Absolutely. But I would say I do respect the artists from 20, 30 years ago because,
oh, of course.
they didn't have social media. And that's where the footwork comes in. So I do that. I make sure I'm out there putting the footwork in, I'm networking, got business cards. I'm just constantly giving my cards out, things of that nature. So I do respect that part of the grind too. You know what I mean? So
For
putting the
sure.
footwork. Yeah.
Well, even just like going to DC and having, the chance to get to meet all of
Hmm.
these people, just pushing yourself out of that comfort zone, you wouldn't have done that naturally. You're
Nope.
not like, oh, if you
Yeah.
didn't know about this opportunity and this event to be taking place or any other, like your cousin hosts charity events I've seen on social media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there, it's like you literally never know who you're going to meet and where you're going to meet them. So
Never know.
putting yourself out there.
Yeah. And I would say my manager, he's a huge help too. So, he got on board with me back in October, November. So we've been tight ever since, and he's really been a huge help too. So yeah, you have to have a team.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you gotta have a team.
Yeah.
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 So.
Because I mean, when you're in your studio creating, you can't be out there networking. So
Nope.
it's just like you can
Yeah,
only do so much
yeah.
as one person,
So many things that is like one person. So yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
Absolutely.
have a team.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I was introduced to you was through social media. So,
Yep.
so I'm like, look at all of these years. It's been like what, 2, 3 years since I've known you, but even so, I'm like, all of these years later.
That's a
But
while.
it
You know what I
is.
mean? Yeah,
It
that's a
is.
while.
But I never would have known you because, Tyrone, he and I,
Hmm.
are part of the media group, and his brother is the one he followed me. I'm like, I don't know him, but that's cool
Hmm.
because like he's related to Tyrone and I'm cool with Tyrone, so I'll follow his brother. And then that's
Hmm.
literally I saw him post your work and I
Hmm.
was like, wait, what? In his story, I was like, let me go.
Hmm.
And then I saw your page and I literally hit you up, like, I want to interview you. That's
Yep. Yeah.
literally how it was like so organic. I'm like, but you do not know
Hmm.
like the lengths of people like sharing, exposure, anything like that, where it's going to bring you. So I'm like, here you are on my like episode 91, second episode that we've done with you.
Yep. Second
I am
episode.
an owner of your pieces. I promote it to people. So it's like, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And thank you for that too.
yeah, of course.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Shout out
no
to
worries.
Boston. Woo.
I know. So, like, when you come here, what else did you want to do? Like, I mean, we have a couple of good museums here. Like, do you want to go to museums? Obviously, you want to go to a Celtics game because they're your favorite team.
No. Lakers all day. So I do want to just network, meet new people, the art scene, just have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's it, honestly.
Well, I
Art
think
galleries, art museums, things of
I
that
think
nature. So
you might be that bridge connector because I will tell you, I don't feel like the art scene here is really strong. Like we have a huge opportunity
mhm.
here in the city. And I've talked about this with some of my other friends that live in Philly, but Rec Philly is
Yeah.
incredible to have that space for creatives to go and do their
Mhm.
content, practice, do whatever they're choosing to do. I'm like, we don't have a space like that in Boston. There's
Mhm.
not like one central place that you're like, ooh, that's like the art hub of the city. Or you do, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a place right down the street from my house that it looks like it's like a shared kind of creative space, but I'm like, do
Mhm.
any people even know about that? So I feel
Right.
like there's definitely like an opportunity for people to come together, and
Mhm.
that's the sense of community that I feel like is so needed here. I was talking to you before I started recording about going to that art fair
Mhm.
today, after our interview, and I'm like, I need to be more a part of the community. I don't have kids, so I'm like tied into the school system. I don't have this, so I'm not
Yeah.
tied in here. I'm still living in a city where it's like opportunity is endless, but I also don't feel like I know my next door neighbors to be like, hey, you want to like have a cookout?
Right.
Hey, you want to do this? Like, I don't have that,
Right.
so
Right.
it's like I
Right.
want more of that sense of community. And I think the art community definitely like needs more like a connection here.
Yeah, and that's what I don't have right now. I just feel like I don't have an art community. You know, it's like people who are like in the art world. It's like I have, friends who are they're entrepreneurs and things of that nature, but they're not like artists, like painters or stuff like that. So I'm really trying to really just gain a whole family of artists, honestly.
Yeah. Your
So
own artist guild or coalition or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Kind of like a Justice League of artists.
I love that.
Yeah,
Who are you
you know
being?
what
Yeah. Who
I'm saying?
would you be in that?
Who would I be?
Yeah.
Uh, maybe Flash.
Okay.
I'll be
Okay.
Flash. Yeah. I'll be
No.
Flash.
Okay, perfect. And then like all of you, like in the Justice League, you all like choose your character and then you have to create a painting based off your character. That's how you get your
Hmm.
guild started. You're
Yeah,
like, this is my
yeah.
main character and this, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
something like
that,
that. So,
yeah, that's awesome. But it's also good to know that like from city to city that there's a need for it. And I literally read a quote like a couple months ago and I wish I like had saved it to remember it, but it basically saying that like money and like society gets in the way of us. Like we're all artists at heart, but it's just like
definitely.
we all like can't afford to be starving artists. So we need to like have a full-time job or do something,
Hmm.
to keep us afloat. But like innately we're all artists. So if we could live
Right.
like freely in this world, there would be so much more creativity. So, and I
Absolutely.
think people get scared to really like tap into their passions and exercise it because they're like, oh, well, I do have rent to pay, or oh, I got these other responsibilities, or I have a full-time
Hmm.
job. I can't really, choose to exercise my passion. So,
Take that leap of faith. Yeah, I
yeah.
get it.
So, but here you are. You have leapt, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And trust and believe me, it's a battle. Like for anyone who's an entrepreneur or took their passion like full time, I really commend them. Uh, Mainly because you're battling with not only yourself but the opinions of others. Saying, "Oh, that's not a good idea," or maybe have a full time job or do this and do that. When the whole time you have to listen to yourself. And that's it. And that is the biggest battle of being an entrepreneur. Trusting your gut, trusting your heart, trusting your mind, and knowing that you're doing this for you and only you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think, even just people that you're surrounded with, whether it's like friends or family, they're not always going to be your biggest supporters. And not to say that that's not your community, of friends and family, but sometimes they're
Mhm.
not your main audience. Sometimes they're not your
Right.
major supporters. And,
Mhm.
so to be able to like reach out there, they're going to tell you all day long because they know Sean, the basketball player, they know Sean, the brother or the son, they know
Yeah.
Sean, the
Right.
dad. They're going to be like, oh,
Hmm.
everybody has their own vision of you in their head of like who you are supposed to be, not who you
Their
may
own
really
perspective.
be or who
Right.
you used to be prior to
Right.
painting. So they're going to be like, oh, you should do this. Oh, you need to like when you do your
Hmm.
merch, you should do this and that. And you're like,
Hmm.
thanks for the suggestion. So unsolicited,
Yeah.
But and while some ideas might be great where you could be like, you know what, thank you for that. Like a lot of people just imagine like this is the direction you have to go. This is what you should be doing. This is and you're like, just let me
Katie,
thrive.
honest.
Let me figure it out on my own.
Oh man, Katie, honestly, my favorite word lately has been no.
Ooh, mine's fuck, always and forever.
Like saying no to
Yeah.
everything and just really realizing that people's opinions are just that. Their
Yep.
opinions. Nothing else, nothing less. Stop taking that shit like to the heart or like to the head. It's just opinions.
Yes.
Opinions really, really don't matter.
Yes. Have you ever heard that saying? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I always tell people your opinion is wrong.
Yeah. You're
Simple as that.
entitled to your wrong
You
opinion.
think it's right, but it's wrong. Wrong.
Yes. Yes. And
You know what I mean?
that can go for your art, for personal life, social
Yeah.
life, whatever it
Like
may.
just live your life. Like live your life, be happy. Don't take too much criticism to heart because it's just that, just an opinion.
Yeah.
Um, just, just have fun and be yourself, love yourself, and that's it, man. Like,
Yes.
that's it.
So
That easy.
saying no, it's been so
No,
powerful for
yeah,
you, but in a
no,
good way,
no,
powerful, not just like
no.
being negative. No, you're like, it's a
no.
positive no.
Very
Yeah.
positive no.
Yes.
I say no to a lot now.
That's good. Yeah, but you
No, a
deserve
lot.
it. But also wait until your son gets in that no phase when he can start talking and everything. He's like,
Oh
no,
no,
no, no.
he talks now.
Oh, he does?
So my son is what, 15 months, 16 months? Yeah, super smart. That kid is, oh man, he's amazing, but he's something else.
Yeah. Well, he's the cutest. Every time I see him,
Thank
I'm like,
you.
oh, I just gotta like
Thank
this
you.
photo. He's cute.
Yeah, he definitely, he's definitely been here before. I tell everybody that. He's definitely about 30 years old right now in the kid's body, but yeah, he's been here before, but
The
he knows so
oldest
much.
toddler you ever
Yeah,
knew. Yeah.
yes, man. Yeah. So yeah, he knows that word no too.
Okay. All right. So it's like
Because it's a lot.
it's a theme for you guys, the Kinsey boys. You're
Yeah,
like, our
yeah.
favorite word of the moment is no. Until you're
No,
like, all right, we got to put your shoes on. He's like, no. And you're like, that's
no,
not what I
right,
meant when I said our favorite word is no.
right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm sure
Right.
without a doubt, he's been an inspiration, for your work.
Huge, huge
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Huge. Like he's the reason why now I tell myself it is too late to quit. Because trust and believe me, I have my moments where I'm like, you know what, just getting a job, like 9 to 5, going to work somewhere and not pay anymore. Just fuck it. You know what I mean? Just
Oh,
quit everything. But seeing his face every single day, I'm like, dude, hell no. I can never quit. Never, never, ever, 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 ever in my life. Because my main goal is to pass this down to him. And that day when I'm like dead and gone, he can say, hey, here's my dad's painting for $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So that's my goal. Yeah. Can never quit. Never
Yeah.
ever.
And I love it. The evolution again from literally childhood drawings and paintings to paint night to
Yeah.
now him being your main motivating,
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Again, look at the
Absolutely.
journey that has taken
Right.
you. Yeah.
Huge journey. Huge
Yeah.
journey.
So, and yeah, you could quit all day long, but like, what is that going to get you? Except for resentment or, anything like that. My
Man,
mom really wants to be
resentment.
a part of this interview because she keeps calling me. Sorry, mom. Um,
Okay,
no, but I have to tell her, no, mom,
no.
no. But just being able to like have him have that sense of pride, like you said, like these are
Yeah.
my dad's paintings, look at the world that he has left for me,
Right.
so it's like, yes, could you get a 9 to 5? Yeah, if you wanted, but like what
Mhm.
passion are you going to get? Is that every day you're going to want to wake up and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this is the best day of my life, going to work for somebody else and
Right.
to do
Right.
all that stuff. I mean, I have a 9 to 5. I'm actually like
Oh, yeah.
really happy in the space that I'm
Hmm.
in, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's in the design world, right?
Right.
So I get to see beautiful design all the time. I know that I have like a solid paycheck. I know that I have health insurance, like things that like
And doing what you love
purposes.
to do.
Yes.
I
Yes.
get that.
Yeah. Like when I got my real estate license, I'm like, I could have free will and I can go to work when I want to. And
Right.
but like, I don't think I like real estate, even though my mom's
Right,
done it for
right,
like
right, right.
plus years, but I'm like, I don't know if that's for me,
Mhm.
but, and, one of my friends, like, she is self-employed and she's like, I love having the freedom to do all of this stuff whenever I want. You know, she has children and she's like, I can just wake up and do whatever I want. And I was just
Right.
having this discussion with her the other day, like, while that works for you, I cannot physically do that. I need structure and I need something that I'm like, this is kind of, because if I get too much freedom, then I'll lose my
Mhm.
passion. I'll get very like in my head, I'm like, I have to do this, I have to do this. I get distracted, you know?
Gotcha.
So it's like,
Yeah.
for me, I
I
thrive
get
off.
it.
For you going into a 9 to 5, you're just like, I could have had these first 3 hours of the day that I could be painting or spending time with my
Yeah.
son, doing this or doing that. Like, you know, a
I
paycheck
would
is
say I would say if I did, choose that route, it would have to be something that I love to do,
right.
like painting, walls in a building or something like that, or being some type of like director for some type of like marketing strategy,
Yeah.
something of that nature. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, but hopefully you don't even have to worry about that ever because you're just going
yeah,
to keep doing what you
yeah,
do.
man, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
my goal, for the rest of my days. Just be happy, being happy, happy,
Yes.
happy, happy. So yeah.
That's all you can be. That's all you can ask for. And it's something super simple, but also really freaking complicated at times
Mhm.
to maintain that, you know?
Mhm.
Oh,
It really is. A lot of people think that because I do paint, you know, full time, that I'm always, happy or, always like, hey, start my day. No, there's days where I'm like, I'm not painting a damn thing.
yeah.
uh, for weeks, maybe sometimes. So yeah, it's not always the glitz and glamour. It's like there is a struggle behind it. There's a time where things are slow. You know what I'm saying? Things aren't easy. It's times where I don't sell a painting for months. So yeah, but I keep on going. You just have to keep moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. And you can't push yourself to be in that space to create because what you're going to eventually
at all.
create is not going to be up to your standards. You're like, this is very
Yeah.
subpar. Like, I did it because
Mhm.
I felt like I was forced to do it,
Mhm.
but it's nothing that even like resonates with me. I just added some paint, earth tones. That's the earth tone. I added some
Right.
earth tones. That's not for me, you know, but
Right.
that's the thing, like you have to really like be in the mood. In order to produce, you have to like be in that right mindset. So if you're just like, hey, I'm not feeling too well today, you're not going to get up and paint. You're like, no, I need to get my body better and being like feeling
Right.
I can, start to get back in that space. Or if you're traveling, like have that freedom to step away from your work and be like, okay, I can do this because, that's how I
Exactly.
set my life up, not because you have to. Yeah.
Right. How do you feel about that? Like, when you're in like a rut of not, having your podcast or so not creating, how do you go about that as far as like moving forward?
Yeah,
You know?
I would. Yeah, and thank you for asking that. That's a good question because I feel like for my show, again,
Mhm.
this is like brought to you by everything by me, right? I edit, I do the recording, I do all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not making money off of this. This is more of like just doing it for enjoyment purposes and getting to
Hmm.
connect with people and learn more about people. So in that space, I do allow myself some time. Like I like to flesh it out of like, each season is going to be this, this amount of episodes. Usually it's 15, like this segment, because it's from 90 to 100. It's only 10 episodes. Like I've already fleshed that out, right?
Hmm.
But like getting it, the biggest rut for me is not like not putting a show out, it's not getting the interviews. Like I've had so many friends, and that's why I've taken the entire summer off from doing this because I've had like good friends that are like, yes, I will totally be on your show, we should do that, but I'm really busy, let's do it in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks has become six has now become eight, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I got you.
and
Like, what
I've
the
put,
hell? Yeah.
yes, and I've put out like the last like season predominantly was just myself talking, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm still going to put out an episode whether I have an interview or not, and I'll still talk like all my trash like I normally do. It's not
Hmm.
anything different,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, is this the space that I want to be in? So when when you're like, we're going to do an interview, I'm like, yes, I get to talk to people again. It's not just
Right,
me
right,
talking
right.
to my phone, and just like, which was
Yeah, I
so
get it.
weird to begin with. Like when we did like script reads and all this stuff with the media group, I'm like, I feel so weird. I'm literally talking to my phone as I'm recording. I'm not even talking to a human. Now I'm so used to it. I'm like, oh,
I'm used to it now, right?
yeah. So for that, like I don't even have notes like in our interview last time, but also like we didn't know each other until then,
Right.
right? So it's like I had notes written down. I'm like, these are the questions I'm gonna ask Sean. And like
Yeah.
thankfully I've been connected with you since then that I'm like, I see all that you've done. So
Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah, I want to
organic
bring that
now.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
I was,
organic. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna do this. I don't have anything written. We're just gonna have a
Right,
conversation, have
right.
fun. So like the biggest rut for me is like not having the interviews, but I can still like I try to practice consistency. So it's like I'm
Absolutely.
still gonna put out the interviews, I mean the episodes regardless of an interview or not. I'm gonna stay true to
Mhm.
myself, but I also have had times where I'm like I'm not feeling so hot this week, or like when I got COVID, or like, whatever. I had a spinal tap earlier this year. I'm like, I am like down and out. I do not feel
Uh,
well. I give myself that time. I'm like, I have to have grace with myself because what is like putting out an episode gonna solve for me except for like, oh, I'm gonna get
right.
a handful of views? Nothing.
Mhm.
Nothing. I'm gonna like lay in bed and like feel like shit and like then eventually feel better and take care of myself. And then I'll put an episode out next week if I feel like
Right,
it. So
right, right.
it does ebb and flow like in that space for me, but I'm not as I don't want to say I'm not serious because I do actually really enjoy it, but I'm not as serious about it in the sense that like you are doing this full time and this is like an
Right.
income generator in addition to being your passion. For
Mhm.
me, I'm like, I do this on the weekends before or after work. So it's like I have my full time job and then this is like my extra. This is my fun, this
Right.
is my passion.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like different avenues to get us here, but yeah. But I would say like it's literally the people that are like, let's do an interview and then blow me off. That's the biggest like fuck you. That's what I'm like,
I get it. Trust
that's
and
the
believe.
frustrating part.
I
Yes.
uh I deal with that for example, of with people who like, hey, I want this painting done. And I'm like, all right, are we hypothetically, like speaking right now, or are we actually trying to get this done?
Right.
It's like, yeah, I'll shoot you a DM back by tomorrow, a couple of days. Never hear from them ever again.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
like wasting my time of having this conversation, whereas though you just could have saved that conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I deal with that too all the time.
Yep.
All
And that's where I feel like sometimes you have to be more like, of course, you want to connect with people, you want to learn about them, understand
Mhm.
like their world, but also you have to kind of like sometimes be transactional and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
you're interested in having a conversation? Okay, great. I'll get your email address and I will email you the description and a deposit form. Watch how many emails don't get responded. And you're like, great. Now I didn't even have to further the
Absolutely.
conversation. You have the info
Yep.
and you do with it as you will?
Absolutely. I agree.
And if you don't get like a filled out deposit form, then that means that they're not interested. And you're like, I don't have to entertain you anymore. And I won't talk to you again until I get that form back. So save myself some time. Yeah.
Thank you for speaking for me.
Yes. I am like your
Good.
your pro bono
Yeah.
manager because I know you have one, but
Right,
I'll be like the rep. Like I'm speaking on behalf. That's
yeah.
SK and I'm KS and I'm speaking on
Right.
behalf.
FKKS.
Yes. But like that's the
Right.
thing. People are wildly disrespectful that they're just like, yeah, I want to talk to
Really
you.
are.
I'm gonna do this. And like sometimes it could be that somebody really wants to own your art, but they just don't have the money to do that, right? And they can support you, but they also can't like give you a like false sense of like, yes, we're going to be working together. You're going to be a client of mine either. Just be upfront and be like, hey, love your work. Like, I can't really afford it right now. I'm dreaming about it, but like maybe if you have something one day, I could be able to,
Right.
you know?
Or even like something like, hey, what can I do to get payments? You know what I'm saying? Like things of
Yeah.
that nature. I tell people all the time, like, listen, I know I may be expensive, you know, to some,
Yeah.
which I understand. but I'm always willing to work with people. Well, it's like whether it's like installments, deposits, things of that nature. So I'm always willing to work with people who really enjoy my work. So that's what I do.
Right. And I know that you're not in that, like, I only sell to the elite. Like, that's not your
Yeah,
mentality either.
no, that's not me at all. No,
No.
no.
So you're like, I want my work to get out there to all walks of
Everyone,
life.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah,
And you might have $1 trillion. You might have $10 to your name, but like, I'm still going to treat you all the same. But at the same time, like,
yeah,
this is my livelihood. So if we're going to make this happen, let's make it happen that's beneficial to both of us, you know?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think like also coming from that space of being in Philly, I mean, you talked about like the hood briefly, but it's like you see the level of different lives, right? You can go down to Rittenhouse and you see all the expensive people. You can go down to the projects and you see people that are like, I'm struggling to like feed my kids, I mean, like
Hmm.
living in a city environment, you have, the ability to see all of this stuff.
Yeah,
But you're also like, we're all part of community. There's all different ways of like how we can connect. And if it's like, even if you were like, hey, I know you can't like afford my art, but like I see that you're a good artist. Like, why don't you try it out? I'm gonna like
right,
give you this canvas. You
right.
create something, you do this, or like, yeah, you want my work and you're a photographer, great. Well, I'll give you a reduced rate if you do a photo shoot for me, or I'm gonna do like I think that you have the heart and the mindset to like open it up to everybody. And you're like, everybody has opportunity. It's all just how, you take that opportunity.
Thank you for seeing that side of me. Because I tell people
Yeah.
that all the time, man. Like, there's always ways. I'm always willing to really like help and look out. You know what I'm saying? But do know that my price is my price.
Yes.
That's how I am. I deserve what I asked for. I've worked many, many years on my talent, and that's that. But I'm always willing to work with others. So
Yeah. And
thank you,
I,
Sarah.
yes, of course, absolutely. But I think that, your price is your talent. Your price is not your ego.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not like, oh, I'm just gonna sell this painting for like $1,300 just because I'm like, I want to go on
Right.
that trip to Mexico. You're like, no,
Right.
I am paying because I've like literally put blood, sweat, and tears into this, and like
Right.
it is worth that.
And also, what I try to do mainly is I try to educate people when it comes to artwork who don't really know about the value of like artwork. It's like not knowing that uh painting like bucket like this small, it's like $15. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or a paintbrush can be from $12 to $60 for a paintbrush.
Yes. And you have multiple that you use
Multiple,
in each
right?
painting. Yeah.
So I try to tell people it's like be mindful of the material that has to be bought for your painting. If I don't have a certain color, I either buy that color or that heavy body paint or that oil paint, things of that nature that all cost money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like it costs money,
Yes.
bottom line.
Yep.
From the canvas to the material to the time spent, it's all an investment. So you have to look at it as like I'm not paying him to do something. I'm actually investing in something that could possibly make me more money within the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the mindset to have. Like they're investing in you, but like, what if you like blow up off the charts? They're going to be like, oh my God, I have this work from him that literally,
Yeah.
and hopefully nobody like ever wants to like really sell your paintings. They just treasure them. But like, if they're ever in
Mhm.
that space where they're like, they want to, it's worth
Really.
way more than they even bought it for, So they're like, it really is an
I say
investment.
go for it. I mean, I'm here for it. Like I tell people all the time, like, listen, if you have my painting, thank you so much because I guarantee you one day I'm going to blow up and be that famous, super famous like artist. And you can sell my painting for twice or 10 times, what you bought it for.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. However, you have to, support your family, support yourself. I am all for it. So by all means, make that money.
Yes,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
By
No, for
all means.
sure. And like, you know, they're an extension of a gallery, I suppose, right?
Right.
You're like, so I don't need to be in
Seriously.
that gallery. I
Yeah,
have all of
right.
these art collectors that are going to be
Absolutely.
selling it and turning it for them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Like one
know.
of my friends, when you walk into her house, she has one of my paintings like framed so perfectly, like matches the whole wall decor. And whenever she always says, whenever somebody comes to my home, they're like, yo, who did that? Like that is amazing. And it's like a big art gallery. And I always tell her, yo, sell that shit.
Yeah.
Whenever you know what I mean? Like I'll blow up soon. Like get very, very popular soon. When I do, sell it. She's like, no, I don't want to because that's an original. That's mine. I'm gonna keep it forever. I'm like, yeah, until you have two, three kids, maybe, and had to send your kids to college or something like that, and you can sell my painting for 50 grand. You know what
Right.
I
There's
mean?
1 year
Something
of
like that.
tuition right there. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Well, what you
that's
should
my thing.
do, you should just be like, all right, well, we're gonna just like bargain. If you don't want to sell it, but people are still
Yeah.
gonna come in your house and comment about it, just have like a stack of my business cards near it. So that way you can
Yep.
just give it to them. And then
Right.
it's like that in itself, then you create for these people. And it's
Yep.
like just that one painting. You could be like, oh, here,
Absolutely.
you just gave me
Yep.
5 more pieces to work on. So yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So what's on your agenda for the rest of the year? Because we're like inching into like fall, like a little bit.
Okay.
But
So
like, yeah, what do you have on your agenda?
so first and foremost, fall is my favorite time of the year. Hands down. Like fall and the winter, honestly. I don't know why. But I feel like fall and winter is the time where people really don't want to stay in the house, really. So they had to find something to do. So I always try to like have more events in the fall. So this fall, I am working on my huge, huge solo show. It's going to be here in Philly. Hopefully you can make it.
Yeah, what are the
Date
dates?
date to be announced, but we're planning for late October, early November.
Okay.
So between like October, I would say like the 20th, between yeah, between November like 10th. So between that time,
Whoa. Weird, because in my head I was like, I feel like he's gonna say the 20th through the 10th, the 11th, and you just went the 20th through the 10th. I was like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
mind reader. That's a good time.
So yeah,
It's really not that serious, but I'm like, wow, we had like the same dates in our head. Yeah, no, but
yeah. So
that's great timing. Yeah.
that's my time frame. The art show is titled Peace, Love, and Prosperity, where I'm pretty much just touching bases on my growth as an artist, the love I've had for it, the love I have in my life, like the peace that I've like created and being prosperous in it. So yeah, that's the title. Trying to possibly start promoting by next month, maybe. Doing a whole big show. So
That's
big,
awesome.
big promotion, visuals, flyers, website, things of that nature. So
That's
that'll be fun.
awesome. So is this your biggest solo show that you've had to date?
So this is going to be honestly probably the biggest show ever. Kind of like my big debut to 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 everyone. So yeah, yeah. I'm really trying to like have the entire East Coast in Philadelphia for that show.
Let's
West
do it.
Coast too. So you know what I
I
mean.
better
So
start booking the hotel now. So I'm like,
yeah,
we not these
yeah,
rates are gonna go up because your show.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, that's my plan for this year. So that and just trying to do more collaborations. With bigger brands. Things of that nature, and constantly put the work in.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah.
Well, and you've done a lot. We didn't even talk about your merchandise. Like you've done photo shoots, you've put out new
Mhm.
merch this year. So
Yeah,
are you going to
yeah.
continue that into the art show, or is that aside from it?
So I'm going to continue to possibly put that into the art show too.
Okay.
We're working on a fall collection right now. I love fall weather, honestly. It's like the clothes. I'm not really a summertime guy. I don't really care for t-shirts and shorts, honestly.
Yeah. You like the
I
layers. You like the
I love
sophisticated.
the layers, the pants, the sweatsuits, the trench coats, things like that. So yeah, working on something really, really big for the fall.
Awesome. No,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see. So yes, as soon as you announce those dates, let me know. I will see if I can make
I
it. Love to come. I haven't been to Philly in a
will.
couple of years now, so I'm like, this would be
Wow,
another.
really? I
Yeah.
feel like you've been here recently.
I went. I think it was November of 2021 was the last time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about that? Wow.
Yes, overdue. Yeah, because I saw you, I think it was like July of 2021. So it's been 2 years
Yeah.
since I visited the studio. And then I came back down. My friend Janelle did a photo shoot for me for my
Mhm.
birthday, which is at the end of November. So I came like early November.
How about pretty fast?
It was
That's
so
insane.
fast. I know I was
Wow.
supposed to come down for a baby shower this winter, but my friend
I
ended up
can't do.
having her baby like days before the shower, even.
Oh wow.
So it got
Okay.
postponed, and then I couldn't make it the second time. So it just, I wasn't able to come down for that. So yeah, it's like approaching 2 years. So I'm definitely,
Damn.
yeah,
Damn.
right. Time
Time flies.
flies. Yeah,
Wow. So yeah, so you had to make my show. Had
absolutely.
to.
Give me
Must.
those dates as soon as you have them locked in, because then I'm going to start looking for
Will.
flights. I'm going to be like, all right,
Will.
get
Yeah,
in.
because you know what? I would say as of lately, I've been pretty bad with like promoting myself, like networking out there, just being on social media, being more social.
Yes.
I can admit that. I haven't been social really. So I did tell myself, you know what, let me get back to that part, of being an artist. So yeah,
It's all
that's what
right.
I'm doing.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be antisocial because that's my whole like
Yeah,
moniker. So
it is. Yeah. It
it's a
is
good
that
thing.
time.
But I will also like, and you probably feel this way. This summer hasn't summered like it's supposed to. Like it is, this summer is whack.
It like for me, it was two thumbs down,
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly. The only part that I really enjoyed, so every summer, for about 70 years, my family, we get a big charter bus and we drive to Wildwood, New Jersey to the beach. So it's like a big family tradition. Um, and we did that this summer. So that's probably like the best part of my summer. And I would say that's really it,
Yeah.
honestly. Spending time with my family and like friends and things like that. But not really a huge summer person. It's hot. People are insane during the summertime.
Yep.
It's hot.
You're like, did I mention also it was
Yeah,
hot? Yeah.
like there's no way that you can like dress up like nicely really because it's always freaking hot.
And you're like, I'm
And
sweating. I'm like,
yeah,
can't
man,
be
you know what
putting
I
on
mean? And
layers, looking good.
just
Yeah.
not a fan of it. So fall is my like real playtime. You know what I mean? It's like can go out like have fun. There's sports games. There's shows and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I think we're like
all
back into the like real world. I feel like summer's
Hmm.
almost surreal because I'm like, schools are out, vacations are
It is.
happening,
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
like not living their like every day, but then it's like once school starts, everybody kind of like settles back into the routine, you
Yeah.
know, like okay. And I think that's why it's great that you're doing your show in the fall because everybody would have an excuse like I got a wedding to go to, I'm traveling, I'm this, I'm that, like all through
Yeah.
the summer because we're always so used to like being programmed that summer is the best season because that's when we were out of school. Like we're always just summer's the best. I like I don't like being freezing cold, right? But I also don't like being super hot. But I would say I prefer summer just because I'm more apt to be outside. That's the only
Hmm.
reason why I would like prefer summer over winter.
Hmm.
But like even like tomorrow I'm going to a baby shower and I'm like, it's gonna be like 84 and probably humid. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be outside. Like I'm already like, I'm like, I'm
Right.
gonna try to
Right.
look cute
Exactly.
and I'm gonna be like sweating. Nah, it's not. But no, so I
Right.
agree with you about fall. I think there's a lot more like, and I just think change of season, like spring, I would tell you is like my favorite season because growth happens, right? Like flowers are starting to bloom, things are starting to come to life, grass is turning green. Like it's, just a space where there's growth happening. And I feel like fall
Yeah.
is the nice like complement to that because it's like leaves are changing, like season, you can feel it in the air where it's like winter's a continuation of fall,
Yeah.
summer's a continuation of spring. We don't really feel like that change except for like
Mhm.
temperature, right? But it's like I feel like fall and spring really are like the catalyst of like how nature, moves us in different
Oh,
directions.
good.
So
I
I
agree.
love fall. I'm like, we were talking about this being up in, New England, all the leaves changing, you go apple picking, pumpkin picking, you can do all these things, all these
Yeah.
basic white
Festivals
girl
and
things. Yeah.
yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. I'm big
Never
on like
actually,
I love like food markets, you know, like festivals and like things like that. So
yeah.
that's my favorite part.
Yeah. Do you guys have sunflower farms down there? That's always fun to do.
In Philadelphia,
Well, like in Pennsylvania, if you were to drive out.
um, maybe in like the suburban areas, yeah, but Philly, there's like Eagles. The Eagles, it's it's Eagles time.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Philly is like really, really rocking around this time. There's like beer festivals, things like that. Night markets. So yeah, food truck festivals, things like that. So
Yeah, that's where Philly like definitely has Boston beat. We don't really have stuff like that here.
no,
So, no, I feel like we're always like
I would
kind
think
of
so.
years behind, like, it's like food trucks right now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's like one food truck. Wow, that's so cool. Like, I just saw like a mobile barber shop a few weeks ago. And I'm
Okay.
just like, that should be like more of a thing, you
Right.
know? But Boston's like super strict about certain things. And I'm just like, even I was talking to somebody because at work, like being in design, I'm selling like fabric and wallpaper. And they were like, oh, I'm working on this commercial project and I need to make sure that this particular fabric is treated with this like fire protection. And like Boston or
Hmm.
is like the strictest out of like the rest of the United States when it comes to fire codes. Like they're
Hmm.
like, super strict about it. Well, I get that. I'm like, if you have a fire, you don't want like the whole like curtains going up in flames. I
Right.
get that, right? But they're like super strict about the dumbest stuff. And I'm like, I feel like to be able to like park food trucks, you have to have a whole permit and this and this and this. It's so hard to get the permit, then you don't do it. It's like
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's, I don't feel like we have like fun things like that in the city.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So don't be
Awesome.
surprised if you're bored if you come here. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's good food, there's good museums, so start there. So yes, let us know where we can find you on social media because I'm like, if anybody has not been following you yet, they need to. So
So you guys can find me at SK underscore the artist. So that's SK underscore the artist.
perfect. And then do you have a website that you want to plug in or anything
Yes,
like that? Or
I
is it
do. That is SeanKinseyArt.com. So SeanKinseyArt.com.
Amazing. All right. So then, yes, once you have the art show locked in, let me know. I'll promote it. Like you said, we're going to get the whole East Coast invited and
Mhm.
attending. Got to get them, you know,
Cool. Yeah,
they're
cool.
coming. They're coming. I'm coming. You're coming. Everybody's coming,
They will
right?
be there. Everyone will be
Yes.
there.
Amazing. All right. So, any final thoughts? Like Jerry Springer would have his final thoughts. Any final thoughts that you want to give to the crowd today, man?
um, be happy, smile more, love on those who love you.
I
That's
love
it.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple and strong. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Sean, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you came back, had a chance to
Thank
talk
you
to.
much, Katie. From Philly
Yes.
to Boston, it's been a pleasure. I
Yes.
appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. No, I'm happy you came back. Thank you for this opportunity. It's always good to hear what's going on in your world because sometimes I'm like, I see social media posts, but that doesn't always mean that it's like anything. Like you get to know the person more talking to them
Hmm.
just on social media is a facade, you know? So
Really is.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know. But thank you again. I do appreciate it. I'll let you go. Enjoy your day. I
Thank you
will
so
see
much.
you soon. I'm coming to the show.
Yep. See you soon.
All right. Take care.